Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I've had my AYN Thor for about a month now, and I wanted to do a really quick, super brief review of it from a casual perspective. There's no shortage of videos out there on this device. It's very, very popular right now, very in demand. I wouldn't really recommend this for people who aren't into tinkering with tech in general, because the number one thing you're going to be doing with this is tinkering. It is not like a plug and play experience. This doesn't come with like a front end or any emulators installed. You have to get everything yourself. And if you're not experienced with like Android or like, working with computers in general, you might have a hard time setting this up, but there are some really great guides out there that can walk you through setting up a device like this if you have like truly no experience with Android. Maybe I'll do one of my own in the future, but I'm going to link to, where do I point? I'm going to link to another video by Retro Game Core. Really good setup guide. I didn't really follow it too closely, but I used it as a little bit of a reference for when I was setting this up for myself. I also want to say that I have actually had to set up two different AYN Thors, because when I ordered mine, my girlfriend ordered hers as well, and they arrived in the same package, which was pretty cool. So you didn't have to like wait any extra if you ordered like more than one console, but it's the same model. She got a different color. She got the rainbow color. You can see the little rainbow buttons on the inside. I just got the white one because I thought it'd be more fun to decorate. Here she is. So cute. I'm just going to flash some bullet points up here on the screen. This is mainly what we're going to talk about today. I might make chapters for this so you can click around and see. So I ordered mine on May 17 and it arrived on July 7. So that's 51 days, a little less than 2 months. 2 months is what I was going into it assuming, and it was just about 2 months, a little less. I ordered the Pro 12 gigabyte of RAM, 256 gigs of internal storage version. You can only get the extra colorways if you go Pro and up, which I think is I wasn't mad about because I was already gonna get like a Pro version anyway, but if I only had the budget for the base one and I could only get the black color, I'd be kind of salty, but who cares? So I ordered it May 17th, but I didn't really hear anything until like late June. Best bet is just to check their shipping dashboard every day. On the AYN website, they have a tab that just says like shipping dashboard. And at the very bottom, it'll show the latest items that they shipped and their order number. And you can compare it with your own order number to see how close you are to getting yours shipped. I will say, it's not super clear, like the way that stuff is shipped, I guess. I guess it's based on like what supplies they already have, because sometimes they would ship out like a ton of one color of a console and then just like one or two of the other color. I wouldn't torture yourself like going through the shipping dashboard every day like I did. Like I checked it literally every day. And yeah, I mean, I didn't really learn anything new. I actually ended up getting an email telling me that my device was shipped. And that was like late June. It came 10 days after they sent me that email. Order them just whenever you want, and then don't think about it. Just don't think about it for too long. It came in good condition. Both of the consoles were in the same box, which again is great. I didn't have to wait for the other console. They came in one piece, and they're not like broken or anything. All right, let's talk about the experience of setting it up versus like actually playing it. I should preface this by saying that I have a little bit of experience setting up Android consoles, and I have experience just with emulators in general for like my entire life. Like I've been emulating games since I was like maybe 10. I will say it's much easier today to emulate than it was when I was a kid. If it's your first time really setting up a device like this, I really suggest that you do your homework, because it'll go a long way like making it easier for you to navigate the console in general. So about like specific scenarios with setting up this device, the dual screen aspect of it made things a little more complicated for me, surprisingly. The way the Thor handles like input focus is kind of wonky. There is like an input lock that you can do on the bottom screen. You see that? You can lock the controller inputs to the top screen, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the back and home buttons are getting locked. There are times where I'm trying to back out of an app, but the focus is on the bottom screen and I'm hitting the back button and it's not backing out of the app. And sometimes like just shifting focus between the two screens can be kind of janky. Sometimes when I want to launch an app on the bottom screen, they just don't pop up. Or like sometimes when I adjust the volume, it only adjusts it for one screen, which I'm also confused about. The two screens are basically treated as like their own instances. It's not like they are an extension of one like home screen. They're two different home screens on each screen. I'm saying the word screen a lot. Like the bottom screen like operates as just like a second device almost, and it can trip you up in a few ways. I'll have a tab open in a browser on the top screen, but then I'll try to open that same browser on the bottom screen. That tab just was never open there. I would wager that like 40% of the time you're setting up and the other 60% of the time you're playing games. There's just always something you need to change. All right, front ends. This is probably the part that people who are looking from the outside in are like the most like interested in. I actually started out with ISU on the Thor because the new alpha had come out, like the public version, and I thought like, okay, let's try it out. I ended up actually switching off of ISU and I went to Cocoon instead because ISU is just really buggy, which is, you know, it makes sense. It's an alpha right now, but I feel like it's still a little too buggy to be a public build. There were just things that didn't work with it sometimes. Like ISU as like a launcher just would restart all the time. Like if I closed out of an app, it wouldn't close to ISU. It'd close to my Android home screen and then back to ISU on its own, which was like kind of jarring and took me out of the experience of the front end because it's like, oh, like did ISU the app like have to relaunch? Sometimes with like the home page customization stuff, like your icons are really low resolution, even though you have like a high resolution image. I also had an issue with searching for stuff on ISU because even when like I updated the metadata of my library and I put new games on my console, they still wouldn't pop up. And then like the search function just doesn't, some of the buttons don't work. It's like a press X to navigate thing, but that doesn't work. But I really do have to commend it for how fun the home screen like customization is. I think it was genius adding like the custom home size icons and like you can add like your own custom artwork for each icon. That's fucking awesome. So I switched to Cocoon and it's been great. I love it. Ta-da! Let's see if I can scroll through. So you got like the custom icons here too. Even like the screenshot widget. It's good, it works. The new Cocoon also comes with like some really useful apps that are built in. They also have this Flutter app, which is basically like a built-in keyboard. You can use your controls to actually type on it, which is a plus over like the tiny Android keyboard on here. And it also has a trackpad, so you can play computer games with it like through like Game Native or Game Hub or something. I think that's pretty forward thinking, assuming that like PC emulation or, you know, translation layers and stuff, they get like way better in the future. It's going to be really useful to have, especially for games like, I don't know, like Factorio or like a Civ, you know. Okay, I was trying to show you something with Cocoon, but I ran into a bug. I can't navigate the menu with my controls anymore. I was just talking it up and everything. That just goes to show it's just not going to be like a completely smooth experience. So the name of the game with this thing is emulation. What else are you buying it for? If you're buying it for anything else, you're buying it for the wrong reason, basically. The first thing I gravitated toward was 3DS, and I immediately went to Pokemon Ultra Moon and Dragon Ball Fusions, actually. Ultra Moon worked pretty good. There were some issues with Azahar I had. Ultra Moon has like ghosting issues when you upscale like at all. So I had to put in a cheat code for that. The game is capped at like 24 or like 30 FPS. So it's really nice to have the fast forward button now that I'm emulating. The bottom screen doesn't scale correctly with the bottom screen on the Thor. I actually had to go into the settings to just like have it stretched to the aspect ratio of the screen. And it looks okay. You can tell it's stretched. But then again, it's just like, it's not really a big deal. For some games, it might be like a deal breaker, but it didn't really matter. Overall, it's a good experience. It just keeps crashing for me for some reason. Like I have turnip drivers installed and I'm like not really pushing it too hard. There are certain sections where the game just like conks out and says like, I can't do it anymore. You know, I'd lose my save and everything because I'm not like periodically save stating. I don't think it has an autosave like feature in the emulator, but I could be wrong. And then also, if you're trying to play something that is reliant on gyro or touchscreen, maybe don't play it. Touchscreen delay is pretty it's not horrible, but it's not great. But the gyro is not very smooth. I tried the gyro in Pokemon Ultra Moon with like the camera thing. and it was like really choppy. But it's impressive that the gyro works at all, actually, now that I think about it. DS emulation has a couple of the same issues that 3DS does, but like less crashing. The bottom screen doesn't scale fully, and that one I'm a little more cautious to stretch the aspect ratio of, just because it's so much lower resolution. Here's a weird point that I want to make, but it's like kind of significant to me. Sadly, not a lot of emulators have multiplayer support on Android, which I guess is something I kind of took for granted when I emulated stuff on PC, that like you could just net play super easily, especially like with Dolphin, but Dolphin on Android doesn't have net play. Neither does like Azahar or like, you know, the DS emulator. Eden is the only one I can really think of that has like built-in multiplayer, but like, you know, no 3DS multiplayer, no DS multiplayer, no Dolphin multiplayer. I don't know, maybe it's just something they like haven't figured out for Android, but like that kind of sucks. It'd be really cool if we could like trade Pokemon like through the DS emulator or through the 3DS emulator. But if you're not doing multiplayer and you're just emulating stuff on your own, it's pretty much perfect for everything else. PS2, I have not run into a single issue with. I don't think I've had a single game crash on me with PS2. Switch is surprisingly very good on this console. I'm just amazed at how well this thing handles Switch games, and maybe it's a testament to how weak the Switch is. The OLED panel is fucking ridiculous because like it looks like it's off sometimes. It's really nice, especially for retro games. When I play NES games on it, like just fades into the background. Like it is the deepest colors I've ever looked at in my life. So probably the number one selling point of Android handhelds these days is PC gaming on them. My go-to is Game Native. I don't really like Game Hub. I just don't like the way it's set up. Like it feels dumb. This is another instance where it's like you have to be ready to tinker because not a lot of the games that you'll play will work out of the box. I know that people kind of oversell it these days as like, oh, it's like a mini Steam Deck. That's true in some ways, very not true in others. I feel like when I had my Steam Deck, it was a lot more reliable with like the games I threw at it. It's just by nature not going to be as compatible as just like running Linux, which is a new thing that they've been doing now, where you can install Linux on the Thor and you can download an ARM version of Steam. And I think that's cool too, but like then you'd be sacrificing all the Android stuff like the front end. And like, I don't know if I'm willing to give that up. Like if they make Cocoon for Rocknix or something, like, yeah, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But as far as using Game Native, it's pretty good. You know, I mean, my go-to is going to be Dragon Ball games, and I did promise a video before about getting the rest of the Steam Dragon Ball games to work on the Retroid Pocket G2. I don't know if I'm going to do that anymore because A, I just don't use that device as much. I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. B, the Thor is just way better for Steam games. I pretty much like perfected my config of Sparking Zero to get it to work at like a pretty solid 30 FPS, and it's running at 1280 720, just the resolution scale is down instead of the actual internal resolution of the game. Xenoverse 2 ran way better on it as well. I actually tested it out on the Retroid Pocket and I got it to launch, but like it ran like crap. I don't know, like you'd think that a device with that chipset would work, but I actually think it had to do with the RAM. The Thor has 12 gigs of RAM, the Retroid has 8 gigs, and Xenoverse 2 ran way better on the Thor. Ideally, if you're gonna play Steam games, you'd wanna get the max with the 16 gigs of RAM, but like, that's only if you're really gonna push it and if you're really hoping that PC compatibility gets better over time. That's just kind of a waiting game. You gotta wait for stuff to advance. You gotta wait for like developers to work on stuff. I'm pretty sure you can mod games on this now. I attempted to mod Sparking Zero like a while ago. I think at the time Sparking Zero's patcher was like not up to date. So like I mistook it for like not working on Android. But I've seen modding work on the Thor. I'm sure it's possible. I just haven't done any yet, surprisingly. It's a pretty big bonus for someone like me because I love modding video games. I wish that like I could bring modded video games with me anywhere I go. And, you know, dream fulfilled. But I will say, if you're buying it purely for Steam games, just like kind of keep your expectations like a little lower than you think. There are videos online of people like running like real ass like AAA games on these things. And like that, you can do that, but it's also like that's gonna be like one of the only games installed on your device because it takes up so much space. It's also gonna like have like really bad battery life, and it's also gonna be like pretty low resolution. For me, like I'm okay with making those sacrifices for games I really love. Like Sparking Zero, like, you know, I have it running at like 50% internal resolution, and like it's capped at 30 frames per second. But like, you know, I'm willing to do that for that game. I will also say, people use frame generation wrong a lot. I really don't think frame gen is all that useful. It doesn't really make my games look better to me. The only instance that I ever like seriously used it on was Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, because that game ran surprisingly well and it ran at like 45 FPS pretty solidly. I kind of toned down the settings to hit 60 and then I frame multiplied it and like it looked okay. It looked blurry as hell. And you know, some people are okay with blur in their games. I don't know. It kind of helps with like the motion sickness aspect of it almost. I can't see that being the case for most people though. So should you buy one? I don't know. It's up to you. I'd still consider this to be like the early adopter stage for a handheld like this. There's a lot of fun to be had, but you have to really get in the weeds and like tinker with this. I know I've been saying that this whole video, but I need to stress this because I feel like you can look at a device like the Thor and see like YouTube shorts and TikToks of it and see like, oh dude, this fucking awesome like gaming device. And then like assume that like buying it is just going to be that. But like, it's a big commitment. It's not really that bad once you get into it. It's pretty easy and it's a lot of fun to tinker with. But if you're just like not good with that kind of stuff, I mean, like now's the time to learn. It is quite pricey. I paid $410 for mine plus shipping, which was like another 40 bucks. It took a long time to get here. And like, I've been spending a lot of money on like accessories for this thing. Again, you know, it's a huge commitment also money wise. If you just want to play like games on the go, there are a lot of options for you. This is absolutely like an enthusiast handheld, not really like a beginner handheld. If you want to play like emulated games on the go and like some Steam games and stuff, you'd be better off getting like a Retroid Pocket or something, or like even something like an Ambernick. But with like the $400 price tag, you are getting a lot of performance. It can play pretty much anything you throw at it. It's kind of crazy. Like this thing surprises me sometimes with the games it can run. Depending on the model you buy, you're probably not going to download a lot of AAA games. I have 256 internal on here and like there's already like 90 gigs left on it. Like, yeah, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot ran great, but it was also like 70 gigabytes. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're going to go all in on Steam games, probably get one of the max models. But the main draw of this thing for me was absolutely the second screen. I love having two screens on this thing. It's just really, it changes the whole game basically. I feel like we abandoned the dual screen clamshell too early with 3DS. We needed another one. And this was the one that came. And I don't know if it's the handheld we deserve, but it's the handheld we need. I think it just sets a great standard for hardware and, you know, the capabilities that come with just like letting the user decide what they want to do with it. Because now it's like one of the most popular gaming devices. And, you know, the biggest draw is that it's do it yourself. You know, I've spent like maybe like 20 bucks on like stickers from Etsy. I don't know. I love this thing. And like, I should probably get a case for it because I really don't want it to crack. And you know, just like the experience of just like taking it, putting it in my bag, bringing it to work, bringing it to like a friend's place. It really, you know, it feels like when I had a DS as a kid and it's fucking awesome. I'm playing a lot more games now than I usually do. It's been a real conversation piece as well. I bring it to like work or like parties and people are like, dude, is that a DS? No, it's not. And they're like, well, what is it? And like, I don't know how to explain it to them. Like my really nerdy hobby. But then like sometimes my devices get like recognized in the wild and people are like, dude, is that a Retroid Pocket? And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty neat when you get to talk to people about this stuff. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Whether you buy one or not, it's really up to you. If you are really dying to emulate some DS or 3DS and you just want like a general purpose like emulation and gaming device, it's like a no-brainer. I know that's like a really specific demographic, but it's also like pretty significant as well because there's a lot of people like me out there. If you want something like that's like a mini Steam Deck, don't get this, get like the Odin or something. Probably gonna have a better time playing like high-end games with a device like that. If you don't want to spend too much money on a handheld and like you're only getting into it now, start with something smaller. Start with like a Retroid Pocket 5. If you want to go even smaller than that, try like a Miu Mini or try like an Ambernick device. It's a lot of fun when you like learn how to set these devices up and like you get to play the games on them. Have the fun of setting it up. Like they should really just like market these as like DIY like game kits. But yeah, that's all my thoughts. Thanks for watching. I know it's been like a hot minute since I uploaded the Sparking Zero video, and I've been meaning to make an update to that for a while. I think I promised to do every Dragon Ball game on Steam, which I did do, and I did test, but I just never made a video about it. Maybe that'll come out soon, maybe it won't, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with this channel. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching. Maybe I will do an update on this like another month down the line. All I know is that I'm going to be reviewing the new Sparking Zero DLC when it comes out because that shit looks fire.